come across some information today that might be worth thinking about. Hi, this is Everyday Prepper. Welcome to the channel. This video today is a little bit contrasting to my video that I put out the other day about why I think the escalations over in the Middle East and with Ukraine and Russia will not necessarily turn into World War III. The reason I've done this video is because I've been passed some information via some apps that I'm signed up to about what the government is doing to prevent certain attacks on the UK. The information has come from an app called Protect UK. I've double checked and made sure that this isn't information that shouldn't be going out to the public. It looks like it's all accessible to the public, so I'm going to show you exactly where I got it all from, why it's come up and why I think it may have come up. So first of all, the Protect UK app has sent me a message this morning saying there's a new update to the site, which is the National Protective Security Authority. It's a government arm and they deal with protecting the UK, helping businesses protect against terrorism and various attacks, that kind of thing. And what they've done is they've, as of today, 3rd of October 2024, they've updated their Hostile Vehicle Mitigation Advice, or HVM. There's a video on the site as well, which apparently they say some viewers may find distressing. Viewer discretion is advised. So just be careful of that if you do watch it. I haven't watched it yet myself, but I've read the document. Now, basically, this is about terrorists using, or attackers that want to cause harm, using vehicles to cause harm, i.e. driving into crowds of people. There's no suggestion that the government has got any information that indicates a threat. I'll just read you a couple of bits of what it says. It says the NPSA has released a new video to highlight the guidance on designing public spaces with consideration to HVM, or hostile vehicle mitigation. It demonstrates some of the key messages in the existing guidance and explains how to mitigate the threats posed by vehicle attacks and the techniques used by terrorists. So this is actually aimed at architects and designers of public spaces where vehicles may be able to get through or not, and to help them make sure there's things in place to prevent the vehicles travelling at high speed, which could cause more damage. In recent years, there have been several attacks on the public around the world using vehicles, causing deaths, injuries, and damage to property. Many towns and cities now deploy security barriers, as we've seen, and other street furniture to help prevent attacks from vehicles. To better protect people and property, we need to integrate HVM into planning and site design by reconfiguring a site layout, adapting existing features, and by adding new mitigations. We could slow down approaching vehicles, restrict potential attack routes, and help save lives. They also go on to say it's important that our surroundings remain open and inclusive, and that the addition of physical security measures designed to protect us are integrated and proportionate to the threat. Right, so it says here, what is the video in response to? The video wasn't created in response to a specific incident or change in threat. The current threat level for terrorism in the UK is substantial. There are two other levels above that, which are severe is the next one and critical is the top level. It's stayed at substantial for quite some time now, and there hasn't been any change to that. So they're saying that they've just released this just to aim it at architects, design professionals, their clients, local authorities, venue managers, etc. And there's some details on there on what those people might want to do. Now, what is interesting is, although that's not in response to any specific threat, we have had, first of all, we've had a major escalation in the Middle East, and some sympathisers in those arenas could be potential terrorist subjects in the UK. Let's just leave that there. Then also you've had GB News just the other day had a headline, which I haven't watched their video, but they had fears of Iranian sleeper cells in the UK in retaliation to Israel's support amid rising tensions. So I think they're talking about Iran threatens the UK with Hezbollah sympathisers. So they're basically, apparently Iran, or they've obviously got some information that Iran have maybe told us that they're going to activate sleeper cells in the UK with sympathisers towards that cause. And we know that hostile vehicle usage is one of those tools that those people use. So what I'm saying is, also we've got coming up to Christmas as well, and there's lots of markets, there's lots of festivals and beer fests and things like that, especially in Oktoberfest. You've got things like that where there's lots of large gatherings around. So the reason for this video is just, as a reminder if nothing else, keep your head on a swivel. Me as a prepper, my personal view is I always like to add 2 and 2 and get 5. And especially when the government turns around and says, no, nothing to see here, there's no particular reason we've done this, I always like to look a little bit deeper, because I always smell a rat when the government says anything. And so if nothing else, it serves as a reminder, but it could well be that they're probably thinking, hey, we've got a major escalation in the Middle East, there's been all this rhetoric coming out from Iran, let's just make sure that we're putting things in place for it. So again, remember that it's not just major cities that this happens in. So if you live in the suburbs or out in the country, you're not necessarily you might be at a slightly lower risk, but you've got incidents all around the world where, for instance, you've had Nice in France along the promenade, a truck drove through a crowd killing 86 people, the market in Germany, you've had a Swedish a main pedestrian street in a town outside of Stockholm, Westminster Bridge, London, obviously these are all major areas, Toronto, then you had a smaller town near Villeurbanne, a small town near Lyon, a small historic city in Germany called Trier. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these right, but all of these happen. So it just shows that they're not limited to larger areas. Hanau near Frankfurt, again another smaller area. Leigh-on-Sea in Essex, although they're saying that it was unclear as to why, but it was definitely driven deliberately into a group of people. So it just highlights that it can happen in smaller populations, not just cities. So yeah, it's just there's always lots and lots to think about with prepping, and sometimes it's easy for all of us to forget to just keep your wits about you, especially around this time of year, and look out for these things and just have them in the back of your mind. So I'm going to make this brief to summarise really. First of all, there's not any specific information that has led them to do this. It's just the timing is just a little bit suspect. So if nothing else, it would serve as a reminder. 2, also remember that if you see something like this happen and you're not directly involved or hit by a vehicle, there have been incidences where they've then jumped out of the car and gone on to attack people afterwards as well that they've knocked down, or people in the surrounding area. Be aware of that, especially if you're in the vicinity. So you might want to, if you haven't already got some kind of med kit in your car, I'd want to probably stay well clear of any kind of area like that until I know it's all died down and the emergency responses were there. But again, some kind of first aid kit or trauma kit in your car wouldn't be a bad thing. If you haven't already. The other thing that I was going to say was there's a couple of books that I'd strongly recommend which kind of deals with all of this. One is called Left of Bang, and that is by 2 authors, Patrick Von Horn and Jason Riley. I'll put links in the descriptions to these. And the other one is The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. Now the first one, Left of Bang, is aimed at, it's a military course that was designed specifically for military personnel to do what they call combat profiling and look for left of bang just basically means if you've got bang, which is the event or the incident, right of bang is after it's happened, left of bang is before it's happened, and you want to be left of bang. So rather than waiting for the cleanup afterwards, you want to be in a situation where you see it coming and you get the hell out of there, or you're able to stop it before it happens. And that's all about combat profiling, which is really, really interesting. It talks about looking out for the right exits and things like that when you go into any kind of building. It just helps you be very, very aware of your surroundings. And The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker is along the same lines, but it's more about information, it's more about techniques and senses that you already have that you can then develop into a really heightened sense of awareness when it comes to attacks of this kind of nature. So as I say, I'll put links in the description for those two, but I would recommend both of those as a read. So I wanted to make it quite quick. So the two sites, as you've seen on the page, are the it's called Hostile Vehicle Mitigation, or HVM. You can type that into your browser and it will come up with all the government guidance on there. It's mainly for businesses and, as I say, and people dealing with infrastructure. And then the other one where I got the notification was from Protect UK. I think you can open up an account. It's because of my work with the Civil Contingencies Act via the amateur radio stuff that I've been doing, that I got involved in that. And so that's why I have those apps on my phone, which of course would be no good if the whole grid or internet went down, but in the meantime it just shows you what's coming up, gives you things to be aware of. Hope you found that useful. If you did so, please give us a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, please have a look around the channel and maybe consider subscribing if you like what you see. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching and stay prepared.